Hi, hello, and good evening. It is September 25th, and we are here to discuss, Big Brother 25. Hey, that worked out nice, didn't it? Just found out. Um, so Cameron and Jared are back to us by way of zombie, which leaves us not much to discuss, but we're going to get into it anyway, aren't we? Let's
We're gonna
do this. Okay. I am Kyle Petty, and I am joined, as always, by my festy besties, John Dunphy and Gina Regino, and this is Strat Chat. You can find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod, as well as Blue Sky, okay? Not pictured in the background, okay? Like, I'm the only one who's on Blue Sky is me. So come talk to me. I don't always live Blue Sky. What does one do? What is the verb of Blue Sky?
like live tweet, but
Right,
on
like
Blue Sky.
I don't live blue fly. I don't know what to do with that. But before it's too late, I do want to make sure that we are acknowledging the fact that it is Monday.
Manwan Monday.
Okay. And with that, I guess the best place to pick up here is with the conclusion of the double, right? So we saw Jared and Cameron leave, but that didn't matter because then I got to re-enter the house as BB zombies. So they're milling about, doing their thing, and they're going to be playing this competition to see who might be able to get back into the house. But first, before we get to that, we got a lot of context around some of the things that went down during the double.
Yeah.
Which I did find to be interesting. First conversation that comes to mind that I do believe to be of note is the conversation with it was Sari, I believe it was Mimi, Felicia, and I think it was Bowie. When she was talking about like, hey, so what is going on? Like, what are we doing about this Jared thing? Like, what's happening? And they were like, well, we don't have the votes. We don't have the votes. And Sari was like, what are you talking about? We are 4. Like, that's enough. That's enough.
It wasn't even we don't have the votes. It was that, like, I think it was Mimi was like, well, everybody's voting out Jared. And she was like, there's 3 of them. There's
right. Everybody
we control
who
the vote. Like,
right.
The majority is right here. If we all say that we're voting to keep Jared, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. We have the votes right here.
We win.
It's so funny to me because she even said in her DR, like, don't insult my intelligence. But it's like, everybody in the house at this point knows who Sari is. Not you trying to lie and missed her with the most easily provable lie.
Did you say missed her?
Yes.
I love that. That is fantastic.
Like,
no,
come
absolutely.
on.
Come on. It's very disrespectful. It's disrespectful to somebody who's never played these things. Like, listen, I know I don't do math late at night, but I can at least add.
Right.
I can handle that.
I know 4 is more than 3.
Right. It doesn't matter how drunk I am. Doesn't matter how high I am. I can look around and just see that I have enough in this room. Right. It's not about hypothesizing. It's like, I know that we can do this. Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't like the disrespect that Sari has gotten at times in this game. Like, that was a moment. But even Jared, her own son, I remember I commented, I guess it was last week, maybe. Jared at one point made a comment about Sari being like, this was when Sari told him to go get information from Corey.
Right. How messy that turned out.
And he blew that whole thing up. And Jared in like a DR made a comment being like, oh, I know my mom gets paranoid in this game. And I'm like, who are you talking about? Who are you
I
talking about?
know. Oh, I got to do this to make sure I take care of my mom. Get out of
Like,
here.
yeah. The disrespect of Suri is unbelievable, especially when everybody knows exactly who she is.
The disrespect honestly starts at the top. because, and also Suri is like defending his name left and right. Like, oh, Jared's such a competitor. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what my game would be without him. And it's like, honestly, your game would be a lot better.
Way better.
Yes, so much better. Your game would like improve exponentially if Jared actually left the house. And she has no idea. She has no idea. He's such a good competitor. Why?
Oh, it's so unfortunate.
Yeah. I remember
everything he's won is only because somebody else lost.
Right.
Which is granted what you might say about any competition, right?
But like, not in the same way. Like
exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's been very blatantly. That's how he's been doing it.
Right.
But Suri has been blinded at times too, because I remember she was talking to Matt, and she said, Matt was telling her, "Listen, I trust you more than Jared, and if I knew that if I took if I used the veto to take Blue down, you would have been going up, and you would have been going home." And she was going like, oh, because she was upset that he didn't use the POV on Jared or whatever. And she was like, oh, like, should I really be trusting Matt? Like, what if he's a snake? And I'm like, no, the person you shouldn't be trusting is your son. Like, Matt saved you. Matt literally saved you.
Happy to talk about Matt. Because, he's in a very interesting position. And I think he's playing it well. Because the optics of, so when they were playing that HOH competition, what did you think of that, by the way? I feel like we didn't really dive enough into that one, because I thought that was kind of interesting. The fact that this is something we've seen where you kind of get to call out different people, but having to get in line and like, the order of that made that a little bit more interesting. And it kind of made you show your cards a little bit more, I believe, than in other
100%
situations. Yeah. So for Suri to keep being called out, and the fact that Matt called Suri out, the optics of that to everyone else is like, oh my gosh, right, you're on board with us because you kind of want Suri out too. Like, right, we're not trusting her. We don't know what to do with it.
Well, again, I think we did very, very briefly touch on this the other day, because I think that was more, it wasn't so much I want to get Suri out because I'm targeting Suri so much as it was I want to get Suri out because she's the only person that wouldn't put Jared up, so she can't win the HOH.
Right. But now seeing some of the context around this, I'm not so sure that other people would have viewed Suri leaving as such a bad thing. Right. Like, people would be like, okay,
gut plan, not at all. Yeah.
Right. But Matt, and this is where I think his position in this game is getting interesting, because like the optics of that is like, I could keep up with, I want Jared to be gone. I could keep up with, I want Suri to be gone. I could keep up with, I'm indifferent. No matter who you're having a conversation with, your actions are kind of defensible.
Yeah.
I just think it's wonderful. Like, good for Matt.
Yeah, I think he's in a good spot. And I don't think anybody's going to be saying his name, right? At this point, it seems like he's pretty low on everybody's list as like somebody to nominate right now.
Yeah, I feel like I don't hear a lot of people talking about him.
Yeah, I can't. Well, I haven't really paid enough attention to feeds lately because life has been crazy. But no, I haven't heard anyone say anything about Matt. Which is certainly a plus to Team Morgino.
Unscathed.
So ridiculous. I can't stand it. I can't wait for your team to be ripped to shreds. Because eventually it is coming, whether you want to admit it or not. It's happening. Like, there's not going to be 5 winners. You're going to be taking some L's soon.
I know, but for now, unscathed.
Right. At least your team will be back-to-back losses. So we do look forward to that.
It's gonna. I feel like it's getting to a point where like the only people taking Gina's team down are gonna be Gina's people. Like they're all
cannibalism.
I don't know, man. Corey and America need to step it up. They're in trouble. They're in big trouble.
So why are they in big trouble? Have I missed things? Is that something for the end? We don't want to spoil things for people.
I mean, not as I feel like there are no spoilers this week because freaking nothing's happening.
That's
But
absolutely true.
I mean, Corey and America have been named more so America than Corey, but they have been named by people in the house for weeks now.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the names have been out there, but I feel like I don't know. Who's going to take a shot at them right now? I mean,
Right, that's the thing. I feel like the names have been out there, but they're not it's so I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's um yes, the names are out there, but they're lower on the priority list, put it that way.
Right. Like,
There's
I feel like
always someone bigger to get out, and I don't
Yeah.
really know why they think
Right.
that. So they're being
I
discussed, but not as real things.
I agree. And I
Yes,
feel
that's
like
fair.
right now, I feel like whatever happens with Jared and Cameron, whichever one of them comes back in, they're going to be like the first target. Then I see like Suri and Felicia being targets. Then like I don't see Corey in America unless Suri wins an HOH or something like that. Like I don't see Corey in America really being in like any immediate danger.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like they're still kind of
I mean,
okay.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, no, I do think they're still kind of okay. They shouldn't be, for the things that we know and like what they're doing behind the scenes. But like,
Uh-huh.
Showering together in there.
We don't have to talk about that.
oh, well, suddenly we are. So yeah, so they were showering together. What is that? You had sent something in the group chat regarding this. What were they kissing and not kissing? It's almost like they know that they're like a focal point and are teasing us.
It's just so
stressing
weird.
me out. It's really stressing me out.
Yeah. They're so public with their affection too, and that's another reason why it's like we have to get these two, we have to break these two up, and nobody seems to be saying that.
Well, it's also like it's so surprising. Like I don't know if they're maybe just more low key to the rest of the house, but it's like we get so much Corey in America. We never hear anybody talking about freaking Blue and Jared. It's never on the feeds. It's never on the edit. People in the house aren't talking about. We know it's happening. Like I don't understand why everybody, including the producers, are so focused on Corey in America.
Well, we got the dryer sheets, for Blue and Jared. We got
Yeah,
the dryer
but then we've
sheets.
never seen anything from them again. Like we know that's continuing
But I
to
also,
happen.
but I also feel like Blue doesn't really like Jared. So
Right.
like,
I don't think it's
so
continuing
like,
to happen in the way that production wants it to. So they're acting like it's not happening.
yeah, it's like if all that we're getting from them now is like an occasional romp somewhere in the house, we don't
Like,
really need to cover
Trust
this.
me, I don't want to see it, but I also don't really want to see Corey and America making out in the shower together. Like, I just don't need it.
I would rather that over anything Blue and Jared. I'd rather that over anything Jared is really the problem. Even though like I'm not super jazzed about Blue either. Jared just, oh God. What an irritant.
Unbearable, honestly.
He is. What else happened before we get to this competition? So obviously there was some so Felicia was being called out for maybe not riding behind Jared, to which she said,
My jaw was on the floor this entire segment.
Sorry, I'm with Felicia on this one. Y'all tried to play me out, right? I know that you wanted Izzy to stay over me.
There are pieces of both of them that I think are correct, but I think Felicia is more correct.
Right. It's a tricky thing, because you have to make a decision one way or the other, right? You got to choose somebody, but it's like you can't act like whatever Felicia's feelings are for being the one not chosen are not valid. Like
I 1000% was with Felicia, and then the whole thing happened of like, which shout out to production in this moment. The whole thing with Yep, Felicia, saying that she wanted a final two with Jared instead of her one with Suri, and she's like, "No, I never said that." The clip of her saying, "I want to see the tape," and then they immediately put in the footage of her word for word saying that. Funniest thing I've seen production do in a very long time. However, I was totally 100% with Felicia until that moment. So it's like, all right, I can see how maybe you're not totally in the right here, because like, yeah, they're going to target you for that reason.
No,
However,
she's not
for
totally
the
in the
most
right,
part,
but
I do tend to agree with her more.
right. And what would you say in that moment? Like, if I was that person and people were challenging me with that, like challenging my
No,
decision to
I
do
don't
X,
mean
Y,
in
and
that
Z,
moment.
I would lie too.
I don't mean the lie in that moment. I mean,
Mm.
like, they were targeting her because she said that. I get that. I can.
Oh, I get that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But I would also deny it.
Right. So I agree with Felicia in this argument, but I know that she's not 100% right, like both of you. Because like, here's the thing: like, this game is ever evolving. It changes so much, so quickly every day, and I feel like any one of us, right? If we're playing the game, we're working with somebody, maybe we start to cool on that person, be like, I don't know if this is really best for my game. I'm going to go and see if someone else wants to work with me now or something. I might need a new ally. And that's what Felicia really did. You know, there was some heat on Suri and Jared, maybe, or specifically Suri in this instance, because then Felicia went and said, listen, I've been working with Suri. We had a final 2, but I really kind of want to work with you. She was making whatever move she felt like was the best in that moment for her game. Not knowing
she just had the
that
unfortunate affliction of saying
Right.
it to Suri's son.
Right. She just she didn't know that it was
somebody's
Suri's
mama.
son. Right. So of course the information gets back to Suri. If it was a different situation and it's not a mother-son situation, maybe Jared doesn't run right back to her. You know, like maybe in other situations, what Felicia did isn't that bad of a move. Unfortunately, it backfired. So now Jared and Suri are rallying votes against Felicia to keep Izzy, I mean. And it didn't work out. So now Felicia, of course, she's going to work against Suri and Jared. Like, even if she she technically committed the first offense, which I think is only as big of an offense as it is because of the mother-son relationship between Jared and Suri. So it's like, technically she committed the first offense, but I don't know if she was ever really wrong, because so many of us, how many, like, 90% out of 100 would deny that conversation, just like Felicia did too. So that's why I tend to side with Felicia way more in this argument, even being able to acknowledge that, like, she's not 100% off the hook because she did go behind Suri's back. But like, if Jared's not Suri's son, maybe that's never an issue that even happens, that comes up. So
it was also like, while this fight was TV gold, I did get a little concerned for Suri because she was going a little heavy on the mama bear. And it was like, all right, pull it back a little bit. Why are you so upset that Jared was targeted? Why are you so mad that people are coming for Jared? Like, just you scale it back.
Honestly,
bring it down. Bring it down. Yeah.
And to go along with that, when the transmission came in that Cameron and Jared were coming back, dial down your excitement just a tiny bit.
She's getting messy.
That's an interesting observation. Yeah, I didn't like her celebration around that. And like, she said it to us in these DRs, but she also like showed it and displayed it in the moment when she was reading the transmission from the scary verse. Yeah, not good. Not good.
Yeah. I thought it was if you want to do a like, oh my God, this is crazy, that's one thing. But it was like,
she was like screaming and cheering and jumping and
it's like pure excitement. And it's like, we know you're not excited about Cameron coming back, so you're only excited about Jared. And to be this excited, the guy that like was just targeted by the whole house except for you, and you're so excited he's coming back, like
the same guy who has your whole face.
Your whole face.
Like, it's not good. It's really not good. Yeah. So is that it? Like, before the competition?
Well, what do you think about Jared had found out during the double eviction that Blue kind of knew he was a target and didn't tell him. What did you think about this? How upset Jared was? But because Blue made a comment, and maybe she could have said something to him if she heard a conversation, something specific. Maybe she could have. But I'm sorry, Jared. Most of this is on you. You just had a huge blow up with Corey after you put him up. Now he's the HOH. Like, of course he's targeting you. How could you be so blind that you need somebody to spell it out for you? Like,
right.
I don't know. Like, I get being a little upset with Blue, but that upset.
But it's also, which I think Blue also said this either to him or in a DR, like, are we forgetting all of the times that Jared has withheld information from her during this game, or lied to her during this game, or like been dishonest about something else? Like she hasn't been clued in on everything he's doing.
Yeah.
And his level of frustration with this, I'm so glad you brought this up because I had kind of forgotten about it. But
I
like
did too.
even on the rewatch, I wasn't 100% sure what the issue was. What are you mad at exactly? Are you like you're mad that Blue didn't tell you sooner? What sooner? Like earlier in the night? Or was this over like him just being a target in general? Because if you're talking about in just that night, like
It happened 30 seconds before.
right, exactly. What difference would this have made? It's almost like you're upset that this game move happened and you got burned, and you're trying to take it out on somebody, and you're taking it out on the safest person in the house. I can't be mad at my mom, right? Because she didn't vote. She didn't vote for me to go. So the next best person to kind of like put all of this on is Blue. But like it's really your fault for not playing the game well enough that people wouldn't want to target you. Like what would you have done differently if you had known that you were the target? I don't think it would have made any difference.
Right.
And to your point, John, like this was this double and you knew that this blow up had just happened. So
Of course they're all targeting you.
right, when you're approaching Corey, you're like, I know you're gonna make a good decision. And it's like, bro, you should have known that the good decision is you. You are the good decision in his world. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
in this game, it's you. I don't know.
Right.
Like it just he just so doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And it's like it's so apparent with every single move that he makes, whether he's in power or he's in danger. Every single move is wrong. And then we have Cerise saying, like, oh my God, it's like my baby. And it's like, stop it. You don't know what he's doing. Like, just let him go. Let him go.
Right. You have no idea how much of a liability he is to you.
Right. They always say you got to let the children go, make their own decisions. Like, I have to let them be adults. Go on. Let him go. Let him go because he's fucking it all up. And he's going to fuck you up if you keep trying to side with him. It's just the most frustrating thing to watch. I can't stand it.
When he when he came back in as a zombie with Cameron too, like immediately going to Blue and being like, "You did me so dirty." It's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. She did you so. Did she put you on the block? Like, even if she had voted for you to stay, you would have been evicted 5-2."
What are you?
But also, she couldn't have voted for him to stay because she was sitting next to him. What was she gonna do?
Right, and it's like, let you know.
For she was also on the block.
So that you
like,
can
what did you want her
harder
to do?
To make sure you stay. Shut up, bro.
And we saw her during the double when all the scrambling was happening. We actually saw her fighting for Jared because even if she has tried to distance herself from him a little bit, she wasn't prepared for him to leave the game at this point. That's what she told us. And Corey went to her and said, listen, I think I'm going to put you and Jared up because if you win, are you going to take Jared off the block? If you win the POV, would you take Jared off? Like, because if you are, then I'm going to have to put you up together.
And she said yes.
And she said, I won't, like, don't put me up, and I won't use the POV on him. And then in her DR, we saw her do the crossing my fingers. Like, I won't do it.
Right.
She had already, but Corey, when he first went up to her, he said, if you win the POV, are you going to take Jared down? And she shook her head yes. And he said, okay, well, then it's going to be the two of you. And then she walked back on it and said, wait a second. No. I promise I won't use it. But she had already told him yes. Right. She already said yes.
But my point really is that she was still trying to fight for him, regardless of what she said to Corey. Like, we saw her even in her DR saying, like, yeah, I'm telling Corey that if he doesn't put me up, I won't use it. Crossing my fingers. I'm not ready for Jared to leave. Like, she was telling us, the American audience, that like she didn't want Jared to leave and was trying to set it up in a way where she wouldn't be up there, and then she could possibly play the veto for him and take him down. Like, that's what we were seeing. And meanwhile, Jared's walking back in there like, you did me so dirty. It's like
so ridiculous.
Like, yeah, how dare the person who's on the block next to you not campaign for you to stay?
So sick of him. I'm so absolutely sick of him. Again, not that I think that blue is so amazing, right? I'm not a blue ride hard, but like, despite what I'm wearing tonight, lots of blue, but it has nothing to do with this lady.
This lady.
This lady. I still want to put some respect on her name. She still seems sweet, even if I don't dig her. So that was that. This competition, we've seen this before, eh?
Yeah.
This was like, putting the balls of varying sizes down in the little dropper, right? And you had to walk back along the thing that basically doubles as a balance beam, but it's also a seesaw. You have to get as many balls as you can in the end without them popping out. This was played in many different rounds.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Because I enjoy this competition if it's just a one-shot competition.
Right.
The fact that we had to watch it for like half an hour in 3 different rounds and they still didn't tell us who won it. I was like, what are we doing? I understand we don't have a Wednesday episode. I understand the schedule is weird. You had nothing else to show us. Nothing
I also
else.
don't know, why don't we have a Wednesday episode? Like, I understand that Survivor and Amazing Race is coming back, but we know that next week we're moving our Wednesday episodes to Tuesdays. Is there a reason why we didn't do that this week? What is this?
I have no idea.
Why is this happening? And like, I don't know. Like, really, really weak to me. Do we know from feeds or anything on Twitter who actually won this competition?
Yes.
Okay, so we do. All right, so we're gonna get to that in a moment. So the way this is originally set up, whoever won, this round of the battle would now get to decide who would be playing in Thursday night's live Do or Die episode. Now, if this person wins the Do or Die competition, they get to come back into the game, not as a zombie, wearing their plain clothes, ready to go. But if they lose, they don't come back in, and the other person comes. So what we're playing for on this Sunday episode is to see who has the right to choose who's playing in this sucker. What do you think of that? I think that's an interesting little twist there. Because even if I won this little seesaw balance beam ball competition, I don't know that I want the choice.
I'm also bitter that like a battle back, quote unquote, is the way that they went to go about it when there was the option of having people try to vote somebody back in right there. Like, I think this was the most boring way to handle somebody coming back in, as opposed to having now this week of people like campaigning and making deals and playing and what have you, like without the pressure of an HOH, a veto, or whatever, and having the house decide who to bring back. I think it's more boring to just have the longest, most drawn out 3-round competition that should have been a 1-round competition that is just a precursor to the actual competition, which is just a regular battle back.
I thought we had talked about that last week about how like, is this going to be, because I would have been cool with, let's just get a lot of game talk, a lot of people try to make deals, and then at the end the house still votes, but it's not a vote to evict someone, it's a vote to resurrect someone. Like, that would have been fun to me. Like, who did the best one, who did better at pitching their case to the rest of the house, and then the fact that this is just the same competition the whole time is so stupid.
Instead of having a regular battle back, which is just you have a competition, now someone comes back, you now have a long series of competitions, which like no amount of game talk is going to affect who does or doesn't win the competition. So we have a whole week of feeds that's just people living in a house. Like, there is nothing interesting coming from that because no one can make deals with anybody because they don't know which of them is going to come back. And there's no way to affect which of them is coming back because it's all dependent on this competition. So what you have is a bunch of days of people making out in the shower and lying on the bed and hanging out and having a grand old time. And we're not actually getting anything of substance.
Oof. I don't disagree.
I think it's so lame.
It's super lame.
If they were going to go the competition route, I would have preferred like
a proper
different like different competitions. Even like, here's part 1, we're going to have 3 competitions. If you win 2 out of the 3, you're the one that gets to make the choice, if you want to play that last do or die competition or not. Like at least make it somewhat interesting.
Because also,
where
like,
it's not
what is
just
that
walking out
competition
into
like?
the backyard. Like,
that final competition, like, you're not competing against anyone. So like, what is that realistically going to be? I've seen people theorizing that it's going to be similar to like a Caitlyn puzzle type situation. And I'm sorry, I don't care enough about that to watch it. Like, that's not exciting.
Right. It's only going to be exciting because you're presenting it to me live and there's a time limit.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Like, realistically, what is it going to be? Yeah.
Right. It's actually not exciting.
So we have this whole week of nothing leading up to a competition that no one cares about. Like,
right.
what
You
are we
canceled
doing?
our Wednesday. Canceled. I don't know. Like it's just the
Like,
whole thing
just
is
do
weird.
a regular battle back between the two of them live on Thursday night right after the double and someone comes back. Why are we drawing this out if them spending a full week in the house isn't actually affecting the results of this competition?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also don't really like the idea of a battle back with only 2 people. When I think of a battle back, I think of 4.
4.
Yeah. I'm like, so this is missing the mark for me on a number of different fronts. Yeah, I don't care. I hate that you canceled an episode of ours. We wait all year for this, just for you to take an episode away. Like, I set up my life around this Big Brother schedule. Like, what are you talking? Like, what is this? Like, yeah, I don't know. Lame, super lame.
yeah, I agree.
So I don't know who actually won this competition. So I would love to move into spoilers if we're done with this.
I mean, we talked for longer than I expected us to. So
Yeah, I feel like
longer than I expected to.
there's only one real spoiler here because we don't know other than who actually won.
there's
We don't
nothing
really
else
know
happening.
anything else. Yeah.
That is true too. Because once we get into that, the conversation is basically over.
Right.
Like, there's nothing else of excitement is happening in the house to talk about even.
Right,
Like,
right. Okay, so is there anything else that was of note from Sunday's episode of BB25?
the only thing that I can think of is that I giggled really, really hard at the clip during the double where like America is so excited that Corey won and is like making deals or whatever. And she like grabs his face and kisses him and then walks away. And then Matt went like he was going to also grab his face and kiss him.
That's cute.
That's all I really got.
That was fun. That was fun.
It made me giggle. But that's all I really have.
That was fun. John, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So Gina, tell us who won.
Was Cameron.
I mean,
shock, surprise, surprise.
Exactly. Not that I would have been excited that Jared won because I don't really want that. But I also don't think it matters who wins.
It literally doesn't matter. I have no idea what Cameron is going to do in terms of whether he's going to opt into the competition or opt to send Jared in. I also don't know if they're going to know what the competition is before they make that choice or not.
Right, because I think that if you get to see what the competition is before you go in, then you might make a more educated decision. But we don't know how that's going to go either. So,
well,
lame-o.
What do you think you would choose to do? Would you choose to play or not? I mean, like, I know a lot, obviously, like we just said, a lot depends on what it is. Like, can I see it ahead of time or not? But I feel like part of me
hypothesize,
part of me feels like,
right,
like part of me feels like if I put in that work and I won and got the option to play or not, I feel like I would choose to play, because if I won that competition and then said, no, I'm going to sit this out and let you do it, and then that person won, it's going to be like all that work I did to even have the power to choose is like meant nothing. Like at least let me have my own destiny in my hands, where it's like if I lose, it was because I just didn't get it done, not because I let someone else go and they took it from me, you know, like
right. I can go to bed easy knowing I did the best I could.
Yeah, I think for me it is a toss-up because, like, on the one hand, for the most part, yeah, I think I would want to have my fate in my own hands. Like, let me be the one to control whether or not I'm going to do this rather than giving someone else the control. However, if I am going up, if the option is me or Jared or a Jared equivalent performer in competitions, by all means, go do the competition. Have a great time. You're probably going to lose it, you know?
That's interesting too, because even without seeing what the competition is, one of the big themes that we've discussed on here is that Jared does not win things because Jared wins things. He wins because somebody else couldn't get it done and made a bad decision or something happened.
And even
that's interesting because it's with this mix of people, it could definitely go either way.
Because even if you go all the way back to like Heisem's HOH, Jared assuming, oh, I totally got this. Yeah, I won the competition. He's doing a victory dance when he didn't actually read all the instructions and got the wrong answer.
Right.
So like, even if he is just up against himself, it is within reason to believe that he's just going to mess it up because he's not going to take in all of the information, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that all? I think that is all.
Literally nothing is happening.
Right.
Like at least if there had been like, if this had gone the other way where it was the house voting on people, like we could probably sit here for hours and talk about like, oh, this person's trying to make this deal.
Much more
like, who do you think's going to vote this way or that way? Like, how is Sari going to try to rally votes for Jared? Like, you could have an interesting conversation around like the game talk and like people strategizing how to vote and stuff.
And not even just like, not even just the strategy of it, like specifically with Sari, but also with like everybody in the house, the tensions would have been so much higher between everybody because we've already seen fights happening between, oh, you voted this one out, you voted that one out, we're supposed to be an alliance, we're supposed to have the numbers, whatever. So everybody outside of Cameron and Jared would also be fighting with each other and having tension with each other because, oh, who are we voting in? Like, we have to be in agreement on this. Whose side are you on right now? There's just so much more that could have happened had it been a vote as opposed to the longest competition in the world.
Right. Like, it's almost impossible to properly hypothesize what could happen because like none of it really matters and we don't know what to expect.
Yeah. And none of them are going to be planning for the future until they know which of them's coming back.
Right. I don't know what future to plan for. I don't know what's happening. Right.
Yeah. Well,
it's just a typical twist that did not get executed in the right way.
Of course, how very Big Brother.
Exactly. This is exactly what we expect from BBUS.
And again, it's like, you know, we finally get exactly what we want, tailored to exactly what the double was. Literally, if we came up with the perfect double eviction, we got it. And they said, watch this.
Don't be too
It doesn't
happy.
matter. Like, we finally got exactly what we wanted.
Right,
and they said, never happened.
I get it.
It's also just, it's so frustrating to me because if it was happening to anybody else, like Cameron has been put on the block every time that he has been eligible to be put on the block. Then he wins HOH in the longest, most grueling competition, wins HOH, gets out a target, week gets erased, target comes back in, doesn't matter, immediately gets put on the block again. Wins veto, saves himself, biggest ally sent home in a blindside. Wins HOH again, gets out the target that he wants to get out, makes a really big move, immediately gets voted out by the house, has an opportunity to come back in, wins the first part of this competition. If he wins his way back in again, maybe wins HOH again, like that is an incredible arc. That is such an amazing underdog story. If it was happening to literally anybody else, like,
I'd be cheering.
Why does it have to be Cameron? That is an amazing arc.
I will say that I was enjoying some of his DRs lately, especially in this episode. I don't like the references to Daddy.
Hey, well, I hate it. I hate it so much.
I hate it too, but like, I am starting to like him slightly more. I have been thinking he's a little fun.
It's just so frustrating because he gives me the ick so bad, but he's got this perfect underdog story.
I know, it's a mess. It's rough.
Like if at the end of all of this he were to go on to win the season, that is an amazing story.
It is.
It could happen.
It could happen at this stage.
Yeah.
Because if he's sitting final two, like if he makes it to that point, who has an arc like his? Who has a
Mhm.
story like his?
Literally, like the whole game was against you from the jump, from week 1.
Right. If you make it to those final 2 chairs, I can't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it doesn't matter how much I dislike you. You did play the game well. Yikes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So if there's nothing else, I'd like to direct our friends to the socials, where you can find us at StratChatPod, including Blue Sky. Like, subscribe, share with a friend. Tell some people about us, toss us a subscription. Is there anything else for the benefit of the community?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's about it. So when are we back? Thursday apparently has been pushed back tonight. What does that mean for Buddy Games? Is Buddy Games not on? Like, is that moved up to 8? Question mark. You can check tvguide.com and let us know. But Big Brother 25 is on at 9. It was pushed back this week. We don't know why. Which means we will be live again at 11:15. 1 week only, to let the more important pods have their shine. We'll be here supporting you when you need your Big Brother fix. So again, find us on the socials at StratChatPod. Tell a friend, and I guess we're out of here. You do know we're on Spotify, though, right? We're on Spotify, all those audio only places too. We don't really talk about that enough. Spotify.
Also, hey, how about this? If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or what have you, leave us a nice review. Boost us in the algorithm. Give us a nice 5 stars if you're having a good time.
A true plea from the Lady Morgino. Come on, support your friends.
Let people know we're fun.
Right. This is a chat for everyone.